This topic might seem a bit late, but I've been thinking about this a lot lately. A few big YouTubers and internet journalists believe that Starfield isn't what it's cracked up to be. There is also a decent amount of people that think the game is amazing. While it's not Callisto Protocol polarizing levels, it's polarizing considering its Metacritic score. The last time I checked, the Metacritic score was at 85. And I honestly think 85 is pretty good. But I get it. The hype was huge for this game, so I guess the numbers aren't as high as what people were expecting. It's as if you either love it or you think it's mid. That's what I want to talk about in this video. So this is not a review. In fact, this video is more or less going to be me sharing my opinions on why I think people are having issues with Starfield. So this will be a much shorter video that's straight to the point. No intro for this one, so we're just going to dive right in. So just for transparency's sake, this was a game I was hyped for. There were like 4 games I was hyped for this year, and Final Fantasy 16 and Starfield were 2 of them. But because I am more of an Elder Scrolls fan than a Fallout fan, I knew there was a possibility this game was not for me. But the more trailers and hands-on videos I saw, I was like, you know, this might be awesome. Starfield has become a flagship IP for Microsoft, and they wanted to make sure that this game was ready for prime time. Not only did they spend a lot of money on advertising, they spent a lot of time showcasing what the game was about. Maybe this was the first mistake. Let me explain. What I'm about to say is purely anecdotal. I am not claiming it as fact. This is just us talking, having a conversation. But I have several friends that are telling me this game is amazing. I am hearing I haven't been into a AAA game like this in a long time. And I'll be honest with you guys, that's a little extreme for me, but you know, everyone's taste is different. Do you know what all these people had in common though? This is the part that's interesting to me. None of them had been following Starfield's progress, much less watching the reveals or the hands-on videos. So these people went in only knowing it's a Bethesda game and that it is a new IP. So I think these people didn't have to watch multiple trailers or showcases. They might have just saw one trailer and was like, yeah, I'm sold. I think this might be one of those times that less is more. So much was already banking on Starfield needing to be successful. Redfall only amplified this. And to be fair, the people who pretend to be centrist but absolutely despise Microsoft, they are just hyped that Starfield isn't a 90 on Metacritic. Let's keep it real. But going a little deeper into the Starfield cynics, it was a little weird seeing this clip of Starfield floating around where the character is hitting imaginary walls. Can this happen? Yes. Has it happened to me? No. Maybe this was worse before the first patch. I have no idea. I wish I knew the answer. I think people who saw the Starfield showcases and trailers thought that you would be flying to whatever planet you wanted. Real time. They also were elated about wandering in one direction on a planet for hours on end. And let's not forget the 1,000 procedural generated planets. I mean, I don't think people understand how ambitious this game is. By the way, I don't think 1,000 procedural generated planets are necessary, but I respect the ambition. And if you're disappointed in landing on planets with no life, isn't that what it would probably be like? Just saying. Maybe my opinion will change on this when I have played 80 hours of the game and I'm like, oh my god, this is getting so repetitive. But right now, this doesn't sound so crazy or strange to me because there are a lot of planets with no life on them, at least as far as we're aware of. I won't sit here and say there are 0 bugs in the game, but you can tell there were less bugs than a typical Bethesda release. I know some people won't like me saying this, but good job, Bethesda. You made a game that wasn't riddled with bugs. Keep aiming and striving higher. Again, this game does have bugs, but it's not to the level we're used to. So I mean, I do have to say bravo and kudos for that. Bethesda did embellish some aspects of the game. I think the amount of planets and exploration you can do is worth mentioning, but it's not a one-to-one seamless journey from one planet to the next. But I also feel that people are being a little dramatic about all this, and they're definitely being dramatic about the invisible walls. There is still tons and tons of planets where you can walk aimlessly, scouring a planet, and eventually just leave because you're not finding much. And to hit these invisible walls, I mean, that has to be like, you have to make that your point of focus. I think the worst thing about some of the contempt and misconceptions is that some people will overlook this really good game because it wasn't what they expected. I think that is why there are still a lot of high scores. It is also just a mixture of disappointed people as well. And I'm going to say something that will ruffle some feathers, and that is people expected a 10 out of 10 super unique and original IP. I mean, hey, Bethesda hasn't made a new IP in ages. Oh my god, they're making one. This is awesome. They have been working on this game for years. Surely, this will take Bethesda to the next level. Instead, we got a really good Fallout in space. I actually don't think that's a bad thing. I don't think that's disparaging at all. I literally described it that way to two people, and that was all they needed to hear. What I am getting at is, Starfield is a game that has some unique ideas, but at its core, it has Bethesda's DNA all over it. I believe there was this expectation that this would do something very original and bold for Bethesda. I think everyone is reasonable enough to not argue that it's a massive game with tons of places to explore. It's just not executed in the way many had anticipated. Ladies and gentlemen, that's going to do it for me. Please leave all your Starfield sneak disses in the comment section below. I would love to hear them. Share your Starfield experiences with me. And so far, I am enjoying the game. I'm about close to 20 hours in, and I've just been mixing it up a lot with just doing some of the main story and then jumping back to side quests. And from the people that aren't as into the game, I hear that they are the type of people that are typically all side quests in and just putting the main story on the back burner. And I believe that that is not the way this game is supposed to roll. But I mean, this works out for me because I've always played Bethesda games like this. So it doesn't bother me playing the main story and enjoying it, trying to get into the vibe of it, but also just getting lost in some side stories as well. This is a game I would love to do a review on, but I am nowhere near a point where I would feel content on reviewing the game. Maybe when I'm like 70 hours in, who knows? And one last thing, I do want to say this, like what you like. It doesn't matter that this isn't a Game of the Year nominee. I thought Final Fantasy XVI was good enough to be at least nominated for the Video Game Awards, but it wasn't. And these are my two AAA games I was the most hyped for this year. The other two games I am hyped for, well, they're not AAA. But in my opinion, they are still damn impressive. You're going to hear more about them later in the year. So stop worrying about how other people see a game. If you think it's awesome, it's awesome. Anyways, thank you for watching the video to the very end, and I'll see you next time.